Welcome to KSOK Uncensored. Today's guest is Larry Ward, the man behind the Don Ron movement. Now, for those unfamiliar, there is a petition with over 5,000 signatures to date that are basically saying, hey, we are in support of a Trump-DeSantis ticket in 24. I'm on board. What about you guys? Come on in, Larry. All right. I'm on my own for a few minutes here. Anyways, we'll have him in shortly, but pretty exciting. Now, I have a few questions for Larry, and that is one, what made him start putting this movement together? I know there's a lot of us. Hey, you're in. All right, perfect. How you doing? You able to hear me? Okay. Well, we figured that out. I feel like I'm listening to one of my sleeping machines too with all those wonderful nighttime sounds. But all right, so we are going to be asking questions like what has driven Larry to put this petition together? A lot of us are pretty sure Trump is deciding to run in 24, though it's not confirmed. Likely he is waiting until after the primaries, the general November 8th. That would be a strategic move to wait until that is done and then announce. But some people feel that DeSantis should really be number one on the ticket. So once we get Larry in here, I'm definitely going to be asking him about what his thoughts are on that and if DeSantis has any interest in this. Do we have you in finally? Now I have a black screen. Hey, this is just how it goes sometimes, folks. I have the sound. I don't have the video there, but all right. Well, while that gets figured out, I will continue to talk about my personal opinion on the matter. I love Trump. Many of you know I was just at CPAC Dallas, and I was literally 4 rows behind him. I was able to see the man, the myth, the legend in person, and he did not disappoint. And there was a CPAC straw poll that was performed by a very reputable company. And the straw poll came back with a 99% approval rating for Trump during his presidency. That is incredible. And even Trump himself did not expect that. The other piece that was interesting is that the straw poll returned a 69% favor for Trump to run in 24, where DeSantis, I believe, was at 26%. And so if we're looking at a ticket where it would be the two of them, that is a powerhouse, and that is for dang sure. But a lot of people feel that just the Trump name in general is divisive and that we need someone like DeSantis to come in and run as the primary. I don't see that happening per se. I am in full support of that if that is what happened. Hi, are we in?
Hey, sorry, we are in. I apologize about that.
And that's
Not
okay.
sure what happened.
Just a little upper lip sweat. That is totally fine.
I ran from the football field to try and get away from the speaker, so I do apologize.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Oh, goodness. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I was having a conversation with my audience, basically. I'm going to tie you in on it now. Understanding that you are the man behind the movement for the Trump DeSantis ticket in 24. I know a lot of people, that is like the dream ticket. But I am curious, really, what got you started on this movement?
Well, here, it is the ticket that everybody wants. It's the ticket that every single America First American wants to see. And, the more you think about it, it's such a great ticket. It can not only get us 4 more years, it can get us 8 more years. It can get us 12 years in the White House. And that's what we're going to need to displace all of the Obama's 12 years, the 8 years of the Obama administration and the 4 years of the Obama administration with the sock puppet Joe Biden as president. So it's really the same administration. And we need 12 years of America First policies in the White House, coming from the White House, to undo that. And look, if you look at what would happen if they didn't run together, if they wound up going against each other in a primary, what we would have is we would have a bloodbath, because these are two alpha males that know how to scrap, that know how to fight, and they are going to bludgeon each other. And that would be not only really bad for the ticket, it would be really bad for the American people, because it would hurt their chances in 2024. The only two people who can really do damage to Donald Trump and to Ron DeSantis are Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump. So we have to get these guys together.
Agree. But with that, they are both alpha males. Do you really see DeSantis being cool with being number two?
DeSantis isn't number two. Look, here's what it is. Ron DeSantis runs as Trump's vice president. They get something that Ron DeSantis will get, something that no other vice president really has had. I believe that Ron DeSantis, should he become the vice president of the United States, will be in charge of personnel. And why? This is the most important position he could have. Why? Well, because Trump, obviously, in his first 4 years as president, Trump had to hire all these government experts, which are the worst kind of experts you can hire. The one expert you don't want to hire are government experts, because they're all crooked, they're all swampy, they're all terrible. But that's what he had to do when he became president. Now, Ron DeSantis, as vice president, won't have to do that. He knows who is swampy. He is the government expert. He can come in there and hire competent people and clear out the deep state. And he'll have 4 years to set up his presidency as the most successful presidency in the history of the United States.
I completely agree with you. I appreciate the explanation on that. My next question is DeSantis openly speaking about this? Have you received anything from him? Any word? Any inkling that he
No, but that's what this campaign's about. We need to get the number of signatures. Right now we get 5,000. We just launched this thing. It's going to go through the roof. We believe we're going to get hundreds of thousands, if not 1 million signatures for this. We have to make sure that Trump and DeSantis both not only see the excitement for this ticket, but it's almost like Eisenhower. They have to be called for this ticket. The American people have to drag them kicking and screaming together so that they can right the ship in this country.
Right. All right. On that, I signed it today. Can you tell people that are watching where they can go to sign this petition?
Absolutely. We want DonRon.com. We want DonRon.com.
Enough.
And it is the ticket. Listen, I've been doing this in this political game for 20 years. I have never been so excited for the prospect of a vice president and a president running together from the start. I want to see them announced together. I don't want a day where it's Donald Trump versus Ron DeSantis. I want to see it Don and Ron. And the greatest thing about this is we don't have to worry about the tyranny of or. It's not this guy or that guy. Some Republicans are out there saying they're ready for Ron. No. It's Don and Ron. We can have both.
I love it. And people can donate to you or to this organization. Talk to people about if they donate, what is that being used for?
It all goes in my pocket. No, I'm just kidding. That's what most people think when they donate to PACs. We are the little PAC that could. Constitutional Right PAC, we've been around since 2013. We actually got our founding. We called in 2013. We called for Gun Appreciation Day, turned 500,000 people out after the Newtown shooting, and stopped Joe Biden and Barack Obama from enacting gun control laws back then. And then we've done some other great things, but we are the little PAC that could. We always punch above our weight. We pick the big fights, and that's all we really do.
I love it. That's fantastic. And yeah, I was reading up on you. You have been doing this a while. You were initially in New York, correct?
Absolutely. I moved from I had an advertising agency in New York. I was early on in digital marketing and email marketing and that kind of thing. That was my business. And a client came to us and said, hey, could you do what you're doing for business, for politics, we wound up helping a candidate whose consultant happened to be Dick Morris, who just finished a book called Vote.com and wanted to put his internet theories into practice. So we partnered together, and that's how I got started in politics. And went around the country, signed up Mike Huckabee, and it was providence. God wanted me to do this.
What a trip. Yeah, that's quite the change. And you've been doing this, like you said, a couple decades now, right? So I saw in early 2000s when you pivoted.
2002. 2002 is when we started, and we've been running strong ever since. 20 years this year, and look, we got to do it for 20 more, because the damage that the Democrats have done to this country is almost irreparable. We're going to need generations to undo it. They've been doing this since Woodrow Wilson set this country on a course for communism, set this on a course for socialism, and we're almost there. We're just about there. And we have to undo it. And I can't think of two better people to do it than DeSantis and Trump.
Yes, absolutely. You know what? I'm just going to be completely open and honest. I have been more of a, I'd like to see DeSantis as the front runner, but your explanation has really helped, switch my thought process around. So, and I'm sure it's done that for many people tuning in. I really appreciate it. I always want to ask why, and I get it. So I love what you're doing. I appreciate it so much.
Thanks. Appreciate your support so much.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Well, okay, Larry, there's so many things happening right now. Because I just want to pivot into something a little bit different. And that's the fact that what Bank of America, I don't know if you've been watching what type of program they are piloting right now. I wanted to get your thoughts on this. Bank of America has recently announced a pilot program that will be zero down on mortgages, not based on credit, and it is for predominantly Black and Hispanic communities. And so there is an uproar on the internet right now. There's concerns, not only is it racist, but there are concerns about, this is why 2008 took place, right? Baseless loans, where they were just based on nothing. So what are your thoughts on
I'm so glad you said that, because that's exactly what I was going to say. Not a lot of people know this, but there was an organization called Acorn. And Acorn pushed for no doc loans for minorities. And that's what thrust us quickly into the housing mess that happened in 2007 and 2008. These no doc loans where people got loans that they shouldn't have been able to afford. Then when they couldn't afford it, shocking, it came down, all crashing down.
Right.
And so the part that most people don't realize is the attorney who fought for this policy, for this no doc loan for minorities, was a little known attorney, a community organizer named Barack Obama.
Oh,
Barack Obama.
I didn't know that. I did not know that. Wow.
So you got to, it all goes back to Obama. He got no blame for it, but he was the attorney who fought for that law. Now you've got to understand, what they're doing is they're playing to the woke crowd, and the rule of the day, and it shows itself to be true every time. This is fact. If you go woke, you go broke. So Bank of America, good luck. Nice knowing you. You're gone. There's going to be plenty of other banks that'll take your spot, and the American people are not about bailing out banks anymore. So see you later.
Right. You're spot on with that. And, it's kind of a little funny tidbit. I'm finishing up a 20-year banking career. I did work for B of A in '08. So I was there through that entire mess. And that was not fun, I'll say that much. But it's pretty hard, because not only are they doing this funny business, but go back to, what they were doing with January 6th. How they just, did whatever the government wanted them to, and provided bank statements that should never be provided to the government. So, and which was used and weaponized against people that, that participated or didn't. But so yeah, if people weren't pissed off enough at that point at the bank, they should be now. This one is really clicking around the internet, though. I don't know if they can come back from
It's
this
it's
one.
it's outrageous. It's outrageous.
It is.
It's absolutely illegal. It's absolutely immoral. Forget about the illegality. It's immoral. You can't
Yes.
give a preference based on race. Any kind of
Right.
racism, white on white versus black, black versus, doesn't matter. Any kind of preferential treatment you give for a business on race is immoral. It's wrong. You shouldn't do it.
Yes.
And
Well,
but
here's how
the
they're
left
getting
is like,
around it. They're getting around it by saying they're not collecting race. They're just rolling it out in predominantly Black and Hispanic communities. So I think that they think that that's their leg to stand on, but I don't think it's going to hold.
no, it's not gonna hold. It's not gonna hold. And look, they call it an enterprise zone. There's lots of those. It's Jack Kemp's idea. He came up with the idea of the enterprise zones. It's a good idea, to give incentives and help people rejuvenate some of these inner cities. But call it an enterprise zone. Don't give away a preferential product to people that really won't be able to afford the mess. That's why they need a zero down, zero closing costs. That means they can't afford it. They're not financially
Right.
stable enough to save the money for a down payment.
Right,
So
right.
knock it off.
Well, my family home, we sold it in like 2001. And I remember my parents being like, there were like six people on the loan. And they were of, one of these two communities. And there were like, again, there were like six people on this loan. They ended up foreclosing. And our family home that we always, kept immaculate, was just left like abandoned for a while. And it was, and so that's like a direct, it just shows you exactly what happened with those types of loans, and that happened all over the place. But I remember that and thinking, huh, that's weird. Why would you need so many people on your loan? And they just
Right.
allowed it. So, and then yeah, they foreclosed. I mean, that's just the inevitable when you can't afford your payments. So yeah, just a really, we're really playing with fire here. It's not you and I, but you know what I mean. It's just the bank. That is just
Oh, and by the way,
form.
when you create these zero down, zero closing cost loans, what you're doing is you're actually raising the cost of housing. You're
Yes.
raising the cost of housing. And so who are you hurting? You're hurting the people who maybe can't afford that zero down, can't afford that house, can't afford that apartment. Those are the people that you're really hurting.
Yes. Oh, 100%. Well, I want to ask you about, are you familiar with the Growth Management Act?
No,
Okay. We have them all
and
over the
not.
Northwest, right? Each state. But basically, it's the same thing. It's where the government comes in and tells farmers what they can and cannot do with their own land. I know in Washington state right now, they're hyper focused on this GMA, this outfit. They're hyper focused on telling landowners that they can't splice it up to allow their children or whomever to say turn a 60-acre lot into six 10-acre lots. So that's happening. We're seeing that again. I'm in Oregon. We're seeing that in Oregon, Washington. I'm pretty sure California has it as well. And that's just that same type of thing where you have it, and it drives up any area that is growth managed like this. It makes the housing prices like 5 times what they would be in a non-growth managed area. So it's just so much government overreach, and people don't realize the negative impacts of it.
But it's getting, look, every time the government touches something, every time the government puts his fingers in where it doesn't belong, it goes to hell. Every time. Look, if you go back just to COVID a couple of years ago, what happened? The government took over healthcare. The government took over healthcare in Obamacare. They took over the healthcare system. Call it what you will. Say, oh no, it's a partnership. It's not. The government took over healthcare and botched the plague of the century, quote unquote, and
Right.
completely obliterated, any kind of best practices. They shove these needles down our arm. People are dying from them now. You know,
Yep.
they wouldn't allow you to take ivermectin or to take drugs that were working, that people said were working. They fired people if they even prescribed it. And today, the NIH put ivermectin as a COVID remedy.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Yep, it's on their
Interesting. All
website.
right. Somewhere else to dig into. Well, on that, I want to talk about something you were talking about, really where we're at as a nation. It's going to take decades before we can undo all of the horrible damage that has been done in a very short year and a half. I live in Portland, Oregon, and my husband is a Portland police officer. We have seen an incredible uptick in crime, and I'm talking upwards of 1,000% increase. We are looking like, yeah, obviously per capita we have a lot less people, but Chicago, with the shootings every single weekend, we are having bloodbaths every weekend here in Portland. And sadly, I don't think that it's going to. We could vote bad leadership out and replace with like-minded folks that actually understand that law enforcement is important and put all these great policies and procedures in place. But it's going to take decades to undo this bloodbath that has been created. And it's really all following George Floyd. And it's happening all around the leftist ran cities. But I'm curious, do you feel that, are you on the same page where you feel that the crime wave is going to take at least a decade to reel it back in to where it once was?
Well, you said the right first name, the wrong last name. You know, you said George Floyd. It wasn't George Floyd that caused this crime problem. It was George Soros.
Oh,
And
well, there you go.
George Soros paid tens of millions of dollars to get soft on crime. I wouldn't even say soft on crime. I would say criminals as criminals as prosecutors in these inner cities. And all they've done is let the criminals walk. And
Yeah,
that's what's causing the crime. You know, it's not the protests. It's not, and believe me, there were a lot of paid protesters out there for George Floyd. There were a lot of
right,
Antifa
right,
folks that were out there. And who are they getting funded by? Where are those piles of bricks coming from?
right,
They're
right.
leftist
Yes,
billionaires like George Soros. So
yes.
what George Soros, and by the way, if you're not familiar, what George
Oh, I am.
Makes his money on is destroying countries. And he
Right,
basically shorts the stocks in those countries and shorts the currency and makes a fortune. But he has to destroy the countries in the process. So how
right.
do
He
you
has no,
destroy America? You destroy
right,
it. You destroy it by making it soft on crime, using crime as a weapon to control people.
right. Right. You're spot on. And actually, going back to the DAs, for instance, so you've probably heard of Kroger, the company, but I was at Fred Meyer, which is under the Kroger umbrella, which is what we have out here. But, anyways, I was buying a few pairs of Levi's for my husband, and they were literally like locked in. And then the loops where you would put a belt, there was like an actual like cable running through them. And so where we live in the county we live in is has the highest median income in Oregon. So generally that we have low crime out here. So what I'm saying is I'm not in like a really poor area, right? And we're nowhere near a freeway. So it's just really mind-boggling. So I was talking to the gal. She literally had to unlock the jeans for me to put in my cart. That's another piece. I wasn't allowed to even put them in my cart. She had to bring them up to the register for me, and I would have to pick them up. The whole point is that crime has gotten so bad. People are just going in and grabbing armfuls of merchandise and running out the door. And I shared with her, I couldn't help myself. She had like the nose ring, the dyed purpley blue hair, and I couldn't help. And I was like, you know, what's disappointing? I'm like, you know why this is happening? I'm like, it's because we have DAs that don't prosecute here. She goes, oh, really? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, so police can arrest the people and maybe they go to jail for a night, they're let out, and then they don't prosecute. So there's literally no deterrent. And I said, so we need to vote. I use any opportunity I can. I'm like, so we need to vote
God
out
bless
these
you.
losers. Um, So, and then she kind of pivoted the conversation, but hopefully, like, I just hope that that stuck in her craw a little bit. Because she had to go through the pain in the ass of unlocking genes. I mean, seriously, like it sounds,
Yeah.
it's like crazy. But
I mean, you saw all of the video footage. I mean, they grab whatever they can, and they're let out the next day. Meanwhile, the people who went to protest in the spot they should protest at the Capitol, they're locked up for
right,
2 years.
right,
They're locked up for 2 years, not hurting a darn, but being into the Capitol building by Capitol Police lines and screaming, "Stop the steal." That keeps people in jail for the rest of their damn
right.
life in horrible, torturous situations. But if
Yeah.
you steal, if you murder, if you rape, if you're violent, you're out the next day.
Right, right. It's disgusting. I have a perfect example. Another incident here in Portland the other day. We had a guy who got let off after a domestic violence issue. So he was just let free, and it was by those organizations that started popping up where they pay for people's bails or they bail them out. And so this guy was bailed out, and then he murdered his wife a week later. So it just
Oh my
shows
goodness.
you these leftist lunatics who are putting together, they're bailing people out just because of the color of their skin. That woman is now dead because her abusive husband was bailed out. And so it's absolutely, it's disgusting. But, going back to the positive, and we just have a few minutes here, so many more people are aware and awake. And, it's easy to have everything feel hopeless, but at minimum, people are becoming engaged and activated, and I think it's amazing. So even something as simple as put your name on this petition to get it in front of Trump, DeSantis, so they can really see. We need this. Like, right? This is not optional. We need this. I think that is an amazing power move and so necessary.
One of the other arguments that I hear from uh, swampy Republicans, let's put it that way. Some of them are my friends, but swampy Republicans nonetheless, is that Trump needs a woman on the ticket or he needs a minority. We have to stop thinking like this. We have to stop thinking that we're playing the same game they are. We're not playing their game. We're not playing identity politics. What did the identity politics get the Democrats? The worst vice president of all time. The absolute worst. They didn't hire a woman because she was most qualified. They hired her because she was a black woman. And she can't put two sentences together. Cackling Kamala Harris. She can't put two sentences together. And we cannot follow that nonsense. And look, the greatest troll in the world, and I'm just going to say this because I really hope it happens. When Trump wins the White House and Ron DeSantis is vice president, and right before he goes to be inaugurated, I want him to go on Truth Social and just tweet his pronouns and say, my pronouns are she and her. I am the first woman president of the United States. That would be an epic troll.
Oh, I love it. Well, you'll like this. On my LinkedIn, I just put woman. So I refuse to play that game. But well,
Awesome.
yeah, and we have like 1 minute left. I just want to piggyback on that because I had a conversation with someone. This is back when Hillary was on the ticket in 16. But somebody had found out that I voted for Trump, and it was the woman, and she was like, "Oh, I would have just assumed you voted for Hillary because you're a woman." And I was like, I don't vote with my vagina. Like, pardon that, whatever that phrase, but it is so asinine. Talk about identity politics. Like, that is the most ridiculous thing ever, to just vote for somebody because of their private parts. So I just think that's just crazy. So yeah, I completely agree. The identity politics are obnoxious and unnecessary, and they're really backwards thinking. But Larry, I really
Absolutely.
appreciate you coming on this evening, and really enjoyed this
Thanks for having
conversation.
me.
Doing real quick, can you remind people of the website where they can go in and sign the
Yep.
petition and donate?
WeWantDonRon.com. It's the only thing I want for Christmas this year is WeWantDonRon.com.
All right. That would be like Christmas, New Year. Like, we'll take it. That would be absolutely
Absolutely.
amazing. Amazing. Well, thank you very much for what you're doing. And it's been an absolute pleasure. And I'm sure we'll be in contact in the future.
Great. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Larry. Enjoy your evening. All right, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, another great guest. So every Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 Eastern, tune in. We've really got some great guests that are doing so much for our country joining us. Next week, we are going to have an announcement. Let's just say that. Somebody that is coming on my show is making an announcement, and I'm very excited about it. So please tune in and have a great evening. I'll see you next Thursday.
Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of The Elsa Kurt Show. I'm Elsa Kurt. I hope you're all doing well today.